Hey there, it's Claire from Clairified Creations, and welcome back, you guys. I feel like it has been forever since I've done one of these videos. If you all are new, I'm a pediatric office nurse, and I make all sorts of content, including lifestyle. So today is a Q&A / whole life update on kind of all the things that have happened. I asked you all on my Instagram some questions that you wanted to ask, and you guys actually sent in quite a few, so thank you all for doing that. And if you're wondering, I am a little bit more dressed up than usual. I'm wearing a dress. I just got back from my friend's bridal shower, which was so fun, and I wanted to take a moment to share with you all the accessories that I use with pretty much everyday life. Thank you so much to Ana Luisa for sponsoring this video. I have been working with Ana Luisa for the past couple years now, and I wanted to share with you some of the pieces I got in the mail. I'm always so excited to get packages from them because I genuinely wear their jewelry every single day. So the first thing I want to kind of highlight is these pair of earrings. These are my go-tos. I like to use these for everyday work, so I wear scrubs with these, and then they also go really nicely with a dress. So you can see they're a gold double loop with some silver in it, and I will be linking all of these down below if you want to also get the same pair. The next thing that I'm wearing is this necklace, and it just looks like this. It's a super simple chain, but it also really goes with everything. I love that you can layer it with certain pieces, and it has these little dots on it as well. And the last thing I got is this other pair of dangly earrings. They're blue marble and then gold. I wore these for the 4th of July, and they did so well with my whole outfit. It really completed it, and you know, it was blue and white. Their packaging, you guys, it comes in these cloth ones, so if you're not wearing your jewelry, you can always just put it in here and then close it up. It snaps and you're good to go. And their pieces all start at $39. It's really nice that their pieces are affordable. I mentioned earlier that I was with my friend for her bridal shower party type thing, and we actually went out on the lake. So I got in the lake with these earrings, and you can see they look brand new. I've also swim with these in the pool, the ocean, in the shower. I never take them off. And they offer free shipping on orders, which is nice, kind of save some money there. So if you all are interested, I have a link down below. Make sure to click the link in the description box, and they're currently running sales right now. Anyways, let's go ahead and talk about the Q&A, what I've been up to for the past several months. Update number 1, and then we'll get into the Q&A, the questions you all asked me on Instagram, is I actually moved. If you noticed, I am back in my childhood room, and I did not move back home. I ended up moving in with my grandparents. Now you might be thinking, whoa Claire, didn't you have an apartment? And now the answer to that is yes, I did have an apartment. I no longer have that apartment anymore. There's kind of a few reasons. I wanted to save some money and kind of just see where my next steps were. So I have a friend, me and my past roommate. We had a friend that was interested in it, and the plan was kind of for her to take over the lease when it ended, which would have been November of 2024. So I technically had about 3 months left on the lease. And so I reached out to her and I said, hey, do you want to take over the lease? And she said yes. And then the next couple days later, I asked her, I was like, do you want to take over the lease right now? And it was all super crazy, you guys. I found out that I was moving out on a Tuesday of a couple weeks ago. And on Saturday, I completely moved out of the apartment. Major life update. I am moving very unexpectedly. I've had 3 days to plan for this. I'm moving out Saturday morning, and I officially found out that I was moving this weekend on Tuesday. So I've had, I guess, 4 days, but it was so crazy. I kind of only expected to be moving half of my things, but ending up gonna move out completely, which is a lot more than what I thought, and it's Thursday. So I'm a little bit stressed, but that's okay. It's currently 9:42 p.m. on a Thursday night, so I do have to work tomorrow, but I'm just trying to get as much possible as I can done. Let me show you what it's looking like. Oh, the joys of unexpectedly moving. All the things are just kind of sprayed apart, different locations. All of this current state of my room and my bathroom. Yep. I work full-time as well, so it was sort of stressful. Thankfully, Nate came up. Shout out to my boyfriend Nate if you're watching this, and my dad for helping me out. I really, really appreciate them because I definitely would not have been able to lift all of that heavy furniture by myself. To be honest, Nate did the majority of it. I kind of helped, but he has a little bit more muscle mass than me, so that was super helpful. So yeah, I moved in with my grandparents, but I moved the majority of my things back here to my home, and I'm staying with my grandparents. One, I told you to save money. Two, it just made sense because that friend was kind of ready to move out, and there was really no reason for me to stay at the apartment because I have places to stay too. And then the third reason was to kind of be there a little bit more for my family and help out my grandparents some more. Granted, I still don't do a whole lot because by the time I get home, really the only things I really can do is help out with dinner, but it's been really good to spend some time with them and help out when I can with dinner and dishes and things like that, and spend some time with their crazy dog Barney Fife. So that is the whole update. I know it's very unexpected. I didn't really think it was gonna happen so quickly. I definitely feel at peace with the decision financially. It was just right. I wasn't doing bad financially by any means. I definitely could have finished out my lease if I wanted to and still had plenty of savings. I'm getting to the point though that I really want to start saving up for big things. So eventually I'm going to want a car, not anytime soon because I just got one from my grandparents. Somewhere down the road, a new car, a house, things like that more geared towards the later future that I can be saving up for now to make the future a little less stressful. Work update. Work has been really good. A little crazy, but this whole summer has been relatively calm, I'd say. Now that school is back in session, because there are some school districts in Tennessee that go back in July. Crazy, I know, but it's true. We're starting to see a rise in sick visits, so I'm sure by the end of well, it is the end of July. Probably the first couple weeks of August, people are gonna start to get sick and the clinic will pick up some. But the summer has been very, very nice. We've had time to take a little more time off or get off at work at 4 instead of 5. So it's been just relaxing and not super stressful. It's been a good summer work-wise. So there's the update on that. I don't believe I've been a nurse for almost a year now. In October will mark my year at the clinic. Now let's move on to the Q&A. One person asked, how is Sarah? Now, if you all don't know, Sarah is basically my sister. We went through nursing school together throughout all of college, all 4 years. We were roommates for one of our years, sophomore year. Unfortunately, that was also the year of COVID, and we didn't get to see each other a lot during that time, even though we had an apartment together. But Sarah is doing really good. I've met up with her twice now after graduation. Twice in a year, now that I'm thinking about it, is really sad. But we don't get to see each other that often because we're 3 hours apart for one, and I'm only off on the weekends. And with her nursing schedule, she's in the hospital and works 12s. She works some weekends, and then the weekends that are off, we've just never been able to coordinate that super well. So hopefully I'll get to see her kind of soon. We've talked about meeting up some, but Sarah's doing really well. I still talk to her and text her all the time, and we do FaceTime occasionally. Another one said, how did you meet your boyfriend? So I met my boyfriend, if you all are brand new and this is the first video you're watching, introduced a couple months ago, back in June or May. So we have been dating for a little over 4 months now. We met on a Christian dating app. The dating app was called Holy. If you're wondering, just being fully transparent about that. We did meet technically online. He lives in South Carolina and I live in Tennessee. So we are a long distance relationship, but thankfully we get to see each other almost every single weekend, and we'll alternate weekends. So one week he'll come up here and then the other week I'll come down there. Spend Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday. And what our system is he'll come up to my house with my parents and stay in our spare bedroom here. And then when I go down there, I'll stay at his house with his mom and his brothers. I feel like dating apps get such a bad reputation because there's a lot of them out there that are not exactly for dating and are not morally good. But the one I went on, I'm not saying that there's not always crazy people out there, but the one I went on, Holy specifically, was really good about asking intentional questions, and it is a faith-based one. So you had to answer questions on your profile about your faith, what you were learning in scripture, things like that. So it made it very different from all the others, which was very important to me, that I am on something that someone else is like-minded in those answers. Another one said, how is the pediatric office going? Do you like the hours more or do you prefer 12-hour shifts? I kind of talked about this a little bit, but the office has been going well. There are crazy days, of course, but for the most part, the past couple months have been such a welcomed break from the chaos of the winter. Now, the hours, a lot of people want to know if Monday through Friday, a standard 8 to 5 job versus 3 shifts a week that are 12 hours, which one do you prefer? So I've worked both. But I want to say that I don't have a lot of experience with full 12s. In nursing school, I had to do 12-hour shifts for my preceptorship, and then 12-hour shifts when I started working in the hospital. I wasn't there very long, though. I was only at the hospital for a month and a half or so. In the first 3 weeks, I worked Monday through Friday as well. So really, I want to say I have maybe 25 to 30 full 12s, maybe. So with that being said, I feel like I'm not the best person to ask because I didn't do 12s long term. But from what I experienced, there's just pros and cons to both. I don't know which one I prefer, because the thing about 12s is if you have a bad day or if you have a rough morning and it's hour 1, you still have 11 more hours to go. Whereas if you're in the clinic and you have a bad day or a bad hour, the first hour, you only have 7 more hours to go. So it really is just dependent on it. I think I would personally, if I got to choose my perfect ideal work schedule, it would be Monday through Thursday, 4/10s, kind of in between. I like being able to just be done at a normal time and be able to eat dinner with my family or meet someone after work and it not be late and still have a lot of time to do things in the evenings. But I also like my days off during the week, and that's something you do have to sacrifice if you work in a clinic Monday through Friday. You don't really get any days off during the week, so appointments have been really hard, or even just a dentist appointment, an eye appointment, a doctor's appointment, you really can't go to. And I haven't had too much trouble with it because I'm a pretty healthy 22-year-old that doesn't need a lot of appointments anyways. But it has been hard with doing Invisalign, where I have to see an orthodontist every so often. Thankfully, my manager has been so good about coordinating that, letting me go to all my appointments. Will say that I wish sometimes I could work 4/10s at the office and just have a day off or have a half day even. So I'm not afraid of doing 12s if it's my dream job and if it was something I was really passionate about doing. Comment down below what you all prefer, 12s versus 8s or 10s. I would be all for the 10 hours, but nobody really asks me, and I am not a manager. So the next question is, how do you make time for God on days you work? I just started night shift. If you all don't know, I am a Christian. I'm a believer in Jesus, and I try to follow the Lord with everything I do, but I want to make a disclaimer now. I am by no means perfect. I am very far from it, and it's a journey to walking with the Lord day by day, hour by hour, second by second. I typically have a routine every day, but I want to be clear and say a lot of times I don't follow it, or sometimes I get off track, and I try and read my Bible every night, and then in the mornings I'll just share what I do for my scripture and prayer and what that looks like. So I'll try and read the verse of the day at 6:15 when it gets sent to me on the Bible app. And then if I have time, I will read around it as well. So I'll click on the verse and read the little passage that goes with the verse to kickstart my day, sort of like a mini devotion, and just see what the verse says and see the context and try and get my mind focused on God. After that, I will drive to work, and I will always make sure to listen to worship music. I have done it before where I haven't, and I just did not feel as good. There's nothing wrong with listening to non-Christian music, because I definitely do all the time, but it's something about starting your day with Jesus that really, I think, for me, sets me up for a good day and the right mindset to go into work. What I'm doing is ultimately not for me. It's not for even the kids. It's to glorify God, and if I'm not doing that, then there's something wrong. So then I get off work and everything. I've been trying to work through a plan called the Bible in a Year. Am I doing super hot? No. I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to be 70% of the way through by now, 60%. I'm about 20, if that, 15 maybe. I'm still in Exodus, the one after the first book, Genesis. To close out my night, I'll pray and just have some time in prayer as I'm going to sleep. I'll pray and just talk to God really about anything, about my day, what is on my heart, what's on my mind, the future. I think it's not a question about how do you balance God. It's more of how do you integrate God into your everyday life. Because since your relationship with Jesus is a relationship, you have to put into it in order to get out of it. So that was a very long answer to your question, but that's what I do. Even if you're working night shift, like you said, I think you're doing it in the context of nursing. You can get up early, read devotions, start a plan with a friend. That's super helpful, is to have someone else that's also accountable and walking through that with you. I also go to a small group, which is super nice to be around other believers and be encouraged by them. And I also go to church on Sundays. So just getting involved in things, having good, godly Christian friends in your life. Another question said, do you miss your awesome roommate? Just kidding. Hey, Sydney. Yes, I do miss my awesome roommate, but I hope you're doing great. This is a funny question, so I thought I'd share that with y'all. And the last question is how to balance dating while working. Another dating question. It is definitely an effort, I will say. Before you start dating, you need to make sure that you can handle the time that comes with it, because like I mentioned, just as you have a relationship with Jesus, you're now having a relationship with someone else. And that takes time to grow and develop, especially with being long distance. It can be hard to coordinate things. So I mentioned that me and Nate see each other every other weekend, and that's just kind of what we've done because the driving, it's around a 6-hour drive from Greenville to Knoxville. So 6 hours round trip. That's a lot of driving for only staying a day. So we've made it till the entire weekend we spend with each other to minimize driving and being tired, and also because we don't get to see each other during the week like most relationships do. We can't just come over on a random Tuesday, say, hey, do you want to have dinner? 3 hours away, that's really not happening. Another thing we do is we call pretty consistently. We FaceTime every night, and sometimes, most of the time, we'll call in the morning because our schedules align pretty closely with each other. And just making intentional time for each other has been really beneficial for us. So we know that every weekend we're going to see each other and spend quality time with one another. We go to church together. We have Saturdays together. We go to the grocery store. So it's nothing crazy. Sometimes our weekends we just sit in and hang out and are around our family, or we visit my grandparents. So it doesn't have to be something crazy every time you see them. But I think it's important to communicate with each other what your expectations are in terms of seeing each other, especially if you're long distance. So that's kind of how we make time for each other. For some people, driving would be a sacrifice. You know, you're spending money on gas and you're losing time and you're driving back and forth all the time. It can get old for some people, which is understandable. But I think the question you have to ask yourself is it worth it? And to me, it is beyond worth it to get to see him. I'm more than willing to drive 6 hours on the weekends to spend time with him and his family. So that is how we kind of make it work. It's not perfect by any means. Do I wish we lived a lot closer? Yeah, it would make things so much easier, especially just coordinating everything. It can be difficult sometimes, but the daily FaceTimes at night really help, and it makes it feel like we're not so far apart. All that being said, that is the major life update / Q&A. Don't forget to check out the link in the description box. I'll have all the information about Ana Luisa down below. I will see you all in my next video. Bye!